In that mansion, fear walked in heels. Servants trembled at her footsteps. Even the wealthy avoided her gaze. She was the billionaire's fiancée. Beautiful, powerful, and feared by all. No one ever stood up to her. No one, except the new maid. What happened next shocked the entire house and changed everything. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. The black iron gate of the mansion opened slowly with a low, creaking sound. Lena stood outside holding a small bag in her hand. It was the only thing she owned. The house before her was bigger than anything she had ever seen. Tall walls, shiny glass windows, perfect flowers that looked too expensive to touch. Yet, despite all the beauty, something felt wrong. The air was heavy, quiet. Fear lived there. Lena took a deep breath and stepped inside. As soon as she entered the compound, she noticed the servants. They walked quickly, heads down, faces tight. No one laughed. No one spoke freely. Even their footsteps were careful, as if the house itself was watching them. A woman in a dark uniform approached her. "You must be the new maid," the woman said. Her voice was low and tense. "Yes, Ma," Lena replied politely. The woman leaned closer. "Listen carefully," she whispered. "In this house there is one rule." Lena nodded. "Never anger the madam." "Which madam?" Lena asked. The woman swallowed hard. "The billionaire's fiancée, Miss Victoria." Before Lena could ask more, the sound of high heels echoed through the hall. Click, click, click. Every servant froze. Some lowered their heads. Others stepped back as if danger was approaching. Victoria entered the room like a queen. She was tall, beautiful, and dressed in silk. Her face was perfect, but her eyes were cold. There was no kindness in them, only control. She looked around slowly. "Why is this place still noisy?" she asked calmly. No one answered. Her eyes stopped on a young maid holding a tray. The girl's hands were shaking. "Come here," Victoria said. The girl stepped forward, trembling. Victoria looked at the tray and frowned. "This glass is not clean." "I'm sorry, Ma," the maid began. Before she could finish, Victoria pushed the tray. The glass shattered on the floor. "Useless," Victoria said. "Leave." The maid burst into tears and ran away. Lena felt something tighten in her chest. Victoria turned and noticed her. "You," she said sharply. "Who are you?" Lena straightened her back. "My name is Lena. I'm the new maid." Victoria smiled, but it was not a kind smile. "You won't last," she said, "and they never do." Lena looked at her calmly. "I will do my best, Ma'am." The servants gasped quietly. Victoria stepped closer. "Do you know who I am?" "Yes," Lena answered. "You are the owner's fiancée." "And yet you look at me like I am nothing special," Victoria said coldly. Lena hesitated for a moment, then spoke honestly. "I believe respect should not come from fear." The room went silent. Victoria's eyes darkened. "You should be careful," she warned. "This house belongs to me." "It belongs to everyone who lives here," Lena replied softly. Victoria raised her hand, ready to slap her. Lena did not move. From the staircase above, a deep voice spoke. "That is enough." Everyone turned. Adrian Blackwood, the billionaire, stood there watching. He had seen everything. His eyes moved from Victoria to Lena. For the first time, someone in that house had faced fear and remained standing, and Adrian was watching her closely. The next morning, the mansion woke up early. Servants moved faster than usual. Faces were tense. Whispers filled the air. She spoke back to her. She didn't bow. "She's finished." Lena heard the whispers but said nothing. She tied her apron, smoothed her dress, and began her work calmly. Inside her chest, her heart beat fast, but she refused to show fear. Fear only made cruel people stronger. Victoria stood at the top of the staircase, watching everything. Her eyes followed Lena like a hunter watching prey. "So that's the brave one," she thought. Victoria snapped her fingers. "New maid," she called. Lena walked over and bowed slightly. "Yes, Ma'am." Victoria smiled sweetly, but her eyes were sharp. "Today, "You will clean the West Wing." The servants gasped. The West Wing was large, dusty, and rarely used. It held expensive paintings, old furniture, and fragile decorations. Even experienced workers avoided it. "You must finish before sunset," Victoria added. "And if anything breaks, you will pay for it." Lena nodded. "I understand." Victoria leaned closer and whispered, "This is your chance to prove you belong here." Then she walked away, satisfied. The head housekeeper rushed to Lena. "That wing is impossible in one day," she whispered. "She's setting you up." Lena smiled gently. "I will try my best." Inside the West Wing, sunlight barely entered. Dust covered everything. Old curtains smelled of age. Lena stood quietly, looking around. She didn't rush. She opened windows first, letting light and air in. She tied cloth around her hands to protect fragile items. She worked slowly, carefully, thoughtfully. Hours passed. Other servants peeked in secretly, waiting to hear glass break or shouting begin. But nothing happened. Lena hummed softly as she worked. By afternoon, the wing began to shine. Victoria returned with a group of maids behind her. She walked in ready to shout, but she stopped. The floors sparkled. The paintings were clean. The furniture looked untouched. Victoria's smile disappeared. She walked closer, searching for something wrong. "You missed a spot," Victoria said suddenly, pointing to a corner. Lena walked over and wiped it gently. "Thank you for pointing it out, Ma'am." Victoria clenched her jaw. "Where is the antique vase?" she asked sharply. Lena turned. "It was cracked, Ma'am. I reported it to the housekeeper before touching it." The housekeeper stepped forward nervously. "Yes, she did." Victoria's eyes flashed with anger. That night, Adrian walked through the house quietly. He noticed something strange. The West Wing lights were on. Curious, he entered. He saw Lena arranging flowers gently. "You finished all this alone?" he asked. "Yes, sir," Lena replied calmly. He looked around, impressed. "You were warned about her," he said slowly. "I was," Lena answered. "But fear makes mistakes. Calmness prevents them." Adrian studied her for a moment. "You're different," he said. Before Lena could reply, Victoria entered. "There you are," she said sweetly to Adrian. "I was worried this girl might damage your precious things." "She didn't," Adrian replied simply. Victoria forced a smile. As they walked away, Victoria's fingers curled into fists. Her first trap had failed, and she promised herself. The next one would not. After Victoria's first plan failed, the mansion did not feel the same. The servants were still careful, still afraid. But now there was curiosity mixed with their fear. Whispers followed Lena wherever she went. She survived the West Wing. She spoke to the master without shaking. Maybe she's protected. Lena ignored the talk. She focused on her work, but she noticed something strange. Victoria was watching her, not openly, not loudly, but quietly. Every time Lena turned, Victoria's eyes were there, cold, sharp, and calculating. One evening, Lena was asked to clean the hallway near the private study. That area was usually locked. Only Victoria and Adrian had access. As Lena wiped the floor, she heard voices behind the door. Victoria was speaking. Her voice was low, urgent, and very different from her usual calm tone. "You promised this would be finished by now," Victoria said angrily. A man's voice replied, "I need more time. He's not fully under control yet." Lena froze. She didn't mean to listen, but her feet would not move. "If this fails," Victoria hissed, "everything is ruined. The money, the image, the future." Lena's heart pounded. Money? Control? Footsteps approached the door. Lena quickly stepped away and pretended to clean a vase. The door opened. Victoria stepped out, her smile already back in place. Her eyes met Lena's. For a long second, neither of them spoke. "How long have you been here?" Victoria asked. "Just arrived, Ma'am," Lena answered truthfully. Victoria studied her face, searching for fear. She found none. "Be careful where you clean," Victoria said sweetly. "Some places are dangerous." Lena bowed slightly. Thank you for the warning. That night, Lena couldn't sleep. Her small room felt colder than usual. Something was wrong in that house. The next morning, Adrian called Lena into the library. The room smelled of old books and power. I've noticed you, he said, standing by the window. Yes, sir. You don't panic, Adrian continued. You don't flatter. You don't fear. Lena thought carefully before answering. Fear blinds people, sir. I prefer to see clearly. Adrian nodded slowly. Before she could leave, Lena noticed something on the table, a torn photograph. It showed Adrian standing beside a woman. That woman was not Victoria. Sir, Lena said carefully, may I ask a question? Adrian hesitated. Go ahead. The woman in the photo, is she your sister? Adrian stiffened. No, he said quietly. She's someone I trusted once. Lena nodded. She didn't ask more. As she turned to leave, she noticed something else, a gold necklace lying beside the photo, the same necklace Victoria wore every day. Later that evening, Lena was sent to Victoria's dressing room to clean. As she dusted carefully, she noticed a drawer slightly open. Inside were documents, not beauty items, not jewellery, legal papers, bank transfers, names she didn't recognise. One name stood out. It was not Victoria's real name. Lena's breath caught. Footsteps approached. She closed the drawer quickly and stepped back. Victoria entered. Did you touch anything? She asked sharply. No, Ma'am, Lena replied calmly. Victoria walked closer, her eyes dangerous. You are curious, she said. I am observant, Lena answered. Victoria smiled slowly. Curiosity gets people hurt. Lena looked at her evenly. So does dishonesty. For the first time, Victoria looked shaken. That night, Lena realized the truth. The woman everyone feared was hiding something far more dangerous, and she had just stepped too close to it. The mansion buzzed with activity. Crystal lights were polished. Long tables were decorated with gold cloth. Fresh flowers filled the air with sweet perfume. Victoria was hosting an important dinner. It was not just a party. It was a display. Powerful guests were coming. Business partners, politicians, friends from high society. And most importantly, this night was meant to show that Victoria was the perfect future wife. Servants rushed around nervously. Lena worked quietly, moving from room to room. She noticed Victoria watching her closely again. Tonight, the head housekeeper whispered to Lena, be extra careful. She's looking for a mistake. Lena nodded. As the guests arrived, Victoria stood at the entrance, smiling brightly, her arm linked with Adrian's. She looked graceful and loving. No one would believe she could be cruel. Inside, music played softly. Lena served drinks calmly. Then it happened. Victoria called out loudly, Lena! Everyone turned. Yes, Ma'am, Lena answered. Serve the guests in the blue hall, Victoria said. Use the special glasses. The blue hall glasses were rare and fragile. The other servants exchanged worried looks. Lena walked carefully into the hall. As she poured drinks, Victoria stepped close. Too close. Her elbow brushed the tray. A glass fell. It shattered loudly. The music stopped. Victoria gasped dramatically. Oh no! Those glasses are priceless, guests murmured. All eyes turned to Lena. I'm so sorry, Lena said calmly. But you touched the tray. Victoria laughed softly. Why would I do that? Are you accusing me? Lena looked around at the guests. I'm only telling the truth. Victoria's smile tightened. Adrian watched silently. One of the guests, an older woman with sharp eyes, stepped forward. I saw it, she said. Her elbow hit the tray. The room went quiet. Victoria froze for a second, then smiled again. These things happen, she said quickly. Let's not ruin the evening. But something had changed. Later that night, Lena was sent to help in the kitchen. She overheard two guests talking. She's too perfect, one said. Perfection often hides something, the other replied. Adrian stood alone near the window, thoughtful. He noticed Lena passing by. Thank you for staying calm. he said quietly. I didn't want trouble, Lena replied. You handled it with dignity, Adrian said. Victoria watched them from across the room. Her hands shook slightly. After the guests left, Victoria stormed into the hallway. You embarrassed me, she hissed. I told the truth, Lena answered softly. You will regret this, Victoria whispered. As Victoria walked away, the older guest approached Adrian. Be careful, she said quietly. A woman who controls fear controls lies. That night, Adrian could not sleep. He remembered the torn photograph, the strange papers, Lena's honesty. Meanwhile, Lena sat on her bed, holding her small bag. She felt danger closing in. But she also knew something else. The masks were beginning to fall. And the truth would not stay hidden for long. The mansion was quiet the morning after the party. Too quiet. Adrian sat alone in the dining room staring at his breakfast. He had barely slept. His mind replayed the night before, the broken glass, the warning from the guest, Lena's calm voice. Victoria entered wearing a bright smile. You look tired, she said sweetly. You should eat. She poured him a drink from a silver jug. Lena was cleaning nearby. Something about the smell stopped her. It was faint, but wrong. Sir, Lena said carefully. May I bring fresh water instead? Victoria turned sharply. Don't interrupt. Adrian lifted the glass anyway. Within seconds, his face changed. His breathing slowed. His hand trembled. The glass slipped and shattered on the floor. Adrian collapsed. Adrian! Victoria screamed. Servants panicked. Someone shouted for a doctor. Lena rushed forward. She knelt beside Adrian and felt his wrist. His pulse was weak. Sir, she said firmly, can you hear me? No answer. Victoria stepped back, hands shaking. He's allergic. Almonds, she whispered. Lena looked at the broken glass. The smell made sense now. Almond oil, poison or something close to it. Lena acted fast. She instructed a servant to call emergency services, another to bring cold water. She helped position Adrian on his side. Minutes felt like hours. Victoria cried loudly but did nothing. When the ambulance arrived, Adrian was barely conscious. Before they took him away, his eyes opened briefly. They met Lena's. Thank you, he whispered. The mansion buzzed with fear that night. Victoria locked herself in her room. Servants whispered. She saved him. She noticed before anyone. She wasn't afraid. At the hospital, Adrian slowly recovered. Doctors said if help had come later, he would have died. The next day, Adrian returned home. He called Lena into his study. You saved my life, he said quietly. I only did what was right, Lena replied. Adrian leaned back, troubled. Someone knew about my allergy. Lena hesitated, then spoke carefully. The drink smelled strange. Adrian nodded. I noticed something else. He opened a drawer and pulled out a security photo. Victoria pouring the drink. Silence filled the room. Before Lena could speak, the door opened. Victoria entered. I heard my name, she said sweetly. Adrian looked at her. You knew about my allergy, he said calmly. Victoria laughed nervously. Of course I did. I was worried. But you stepped back, Adrian said. Victoria's smile cracked. That night, Lena returned to her room, shaken. She had crossed a dangerous line. She didn't know yet, but Victoria had decided something. If Lena stayed alive, everything would fall apart. The mansion no longer felt safe. After Adrian's collapse, nothing was the same. Servants whispered more than ever. Doors stayed locked. Security guards doubled their shifts. Victoria became quieter, but her silence was dangerous. Lena felt it. She noticed how conversations stopped when she entered a room, how eyes followed her movements, how the housekeeper avoided meeting her gaze. Someone was planning something. One afternoon, Victoria called all the servants to the main hall. Her voice was calm, almost gentle. There has been a serious problem, she announced. A valuable diamond bracelet is missing. Gasps filled the room. That bracelet belongs to me, Victoria continued. It was in my room last night. She turned slowly and looked directly at Lena. I saw Lena cleaning my room yesterday. The room went silent. Lena felt her heart pound, but she stood still. Did you take it? Victoria asked softly. No, ma'am, Lena replied. Victoria sighed dramatically. I wanted to believe you, but this house cannot ignore theft. The head housekeeper stepped forward. Shall we search her room? Lena nodded. Yes, please do. Murmurs spread. They entered Lena's small room. Under the bed lay the bracelet, shining. Everyone gasped. Lena stared at it in shock. I have never seen that before, she said firmly. Victoria shook her head sadly. I defended you. But evidence is evidence. Adrian arrived. What's going on? He asked. Victoria wiped fake tears. The bracelet. It was found in Lena's room. Adrian looked at Lena. She met his eyes calmly. Sir, Lena said. May I speak? Adrian nodded. That bracelet was placed there, Lena said. I didn't steal it, Victoria scoffed. Are you accusing me? I am asking for a chance to explain, Lena replied. Adrian hesitated. Go on, Lena pointed to the bracelet. It's too clean. My room is dusty. Also, the box it came in is missing. Silence, she continued. And someone unlocked my door. I don't have a key. Adrian turned to the guards. Check the cameras. Victoria stiffened. Minutes later, security returned. The camera outside Lena's room was turned off last night. Adrian's jaw tightened. Victoria forced a laugh. Power failure happens. Adrian looked at Lena again. Why stay so calm? Lena answered quietly. Because lies need fear. Truth does not. That night, Adrian secretly followed Victoria. She left the mansion quietly and met a man in a dark car. Lena watched from a distance, heart pounding. She had followed too. Victoria handed the man money. Get rid of her, Victoria whispered. Lena froze. A twig snapped under her foot. Victoria turned sharply. Their eyes met in the dark. Victoria smiled slowly. So, she said softly, you were listening. Lena realized the truth. The game had changed, and Victoria would stop at nothing. Lena did not sleep that night. Victoria's words echoed in her head. Get rid of her. The mansion felt darker than ever. Every sound made Lena's heart race. Every shadow looked like danger. By morning, Victoria acted normal again. Smiling, polite, calm, but Lena now knew the truth. That calm was fake. Adrian, however, had changed too. He watched Victoria closely. He asked quiet questions. He checked records. Something inside him no longer trusted the woman he planned to marry. Later that day, Adrian asked Lena to bring documents to his office. When she entered, he locked the door. You followed her last night, he said calmly. Lena froze. Yes, she admitted. What did you hear? Adrian asked. Lena took a deep breath. She paid a man. She told him to get rid of me. Silence filled the room. Adrian closed his eyes slowly. She's been lying to me for a long time, he said. About her past, about her name, about money. He opened a drawer and showed Lena papers. Fake bank accounts, fake identity documents, huge debts. She needed me, Adrian said quietly. Not love. Power. Suddenly the door handle moved. They both turned. Victoria's voice came from outside. Adrian, are you inside? Adrian quickly hid the papers. Come in, he said. Victoria entered smiling. I was worried. You've been distant. Adrian studied her face. Where were you last night? Victoria didn't hesitate. I was asleep. Lena felt cold. She lies easily, Lena thought. Victoria's eyes shifted to Lena. Why is she here? She's helping me, Adrian said. Victoria smiled tightly. Careful. Trusting servants can be dangerous, Adrian replied calmly. So can trusting the wrong partner. Victoria's smile almost broke. That evening, Victoria made her move. Lena was sent alone to clean the old storage house behind the mansion. It was far from the main building. No cameras, no guards. The door locked behind her. The lights went off. Lena's heart pounded. She heard footsteps. The same man from the dark car stepped forward. "You were not supposed to hear that," he said. Lena backed away slowly. Suddenly, headlights flashed. A car stopped. Adrian jumped out. "Step away from her," he ordered. The man ran. Victoria appeared from the shadows. "You chose her," Victoria said coldly. "Over me." Adrian stared at her. "You tried to kill me," Victoria laughed bitterly. "I tried to protect myself." Sirens sounded in the distance. Victoria stepped back slowly. "You think this is over?" she whispered to Lena. "It never is." Police arrived. Victoria was taken away screaming. As the car drove off, Lena felt weak. Adrian turned to her. "You're safe now." Lena nodded, but something inside her felt unsettled. That night, Lena packed her bag. She found a note under her door. "This isn't finished." Lena looked toward the mansion lights. She knew one thing. The truth had come out, but the cost was only beginning. The mansion felt different the morning after Victoria was taken away. For the first time, the air felt light. Servants walked more freely. Some even smiled. The fear that once lived in the walls seemed to have vanished overnight. Lena stood in the garden watching the sun rise. She had not slept much. Her mind was full of danger, truth, and everything that had changed. Adrian joined her quietly. "You should have left," he said gently. "You risked your life." Lena turned to him. "If I had stayed silent, others would have suffered." Adrian nodded slowly. "You were braver than anyone in this house." News spread quickly. The engagement was officially cancelled. Victoria's false identity was exposed. The media talked about betrayal, lies, and greed. But inside the mansion, something more important happened. Adrian called all the staff together. "I allowed fear to rule this house," he said honestly. "I was blind, and because of that, people were hurt." He looked at Lena. "She reminded me that power means nothing without truth." The servants clapped quietly at first, then louder. Lena felt tears fill her eyes. She never came to fight. She came to work. Yet she changed everything. Later that day, Adrian handed Lena an envelope. Inside was a letter and a job offer. "I want you to stay," Adrian said. "Not as a maid, if you don't want to. I want you to help manage the house, help protect people." Lena hesitated. "I'm grateful," she said softly, "but I need time." Adrian respected her answer. That evening, Lena packed her small bag again. As she walked toward the gate, the servants followed her. "You saved us. You showed us courage." "Don't forget us," Lena smiled. "Courage lives in all of you. You just forgot." Adrian stood by the gate. "Where will you go?" he asked. "Somewhere I'm not afraid," Lena replied. He nodded. As Lena walked away, she felt free. Weeks later, news arrived. Victoria was sentenced. Her secrets destroyed her power. The fear she once used turned against her. Back at the mansion, Adrian changed his life. He treated people better. He listened more. He ruled with fairness. Sometimes he stood at the gate and wondered where Lena was. Far away, Lena began a new life. She worked. She learned. She helped others stand up to fear. One evening, she received a message. "You taught me something I forgot." "Thank you." She smiled. Fear had ruled that mansion for years. But all it took was one maid who refused to bow. And everything changed.